You are one decision away from a completely different life. Not 1,000, not 100, one. And you know exactly what that decision is. It's the one you've avoided for years. The one that haunts you in the quiet moments between distractions. It's not hidden. It's not mysterious. It's the voice inside that whispers, "No, change this. Do something different." And every time you silence it, you trade potential for comfort and greatness for safety. But here's the truth: life does not reward the comfortable. It rewards the courageous. It always has. From the time of Confucius to the rise of empires, from the industrial giants like Carnegie and Ford to the inventors who saw light in darkness, the pattern is the same: one defining decision, one shift, one moment of brutal honesty followed by relentless action. That's where everything changes. Confucius said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." What do you think he meant? He meant the battle is not out there. It's not in the economy, not in your past, not in what they did to you. It's in here, your thoughts, your habits, your excuses, your decisions. Every time you choose fear over growth, you lose a war you never had to fight. Every time you choose distraction over discipline, you bury your future for the sake of temporary comfort. You see, most people are not failing because they're incapable. They're failing because they're unwilling to pay the price of change, unwilling to delay gratification, unwilling to face the mirror and own the truth. My life is the result of my decisions, and my next decision can change everything. Edison failed 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. 10,000. But what made him extraordinary wasn't intelligence. It was a decision that said, "I will not quit. I will learn, I will evolve." And you can too. Because transformation is not a matter of fate. It's a matter of choice. It's not some mystical force reserved for the chosen few. It's a commitment, carved into your daily rituals, shaped by your environment, fueled by your vision. But here's the kicker: you don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need more information. You need a moment of conviction so strong that it shatters every excuse, every limitation, every fear you've carried. This is that moment, right now. Because until you decide, nothing moves. Not your bank account, not your relationships, not your health, not your mindset. The world responds to boldness, not hesitation. Look at any person who changed the world. Any leader, builder, visionary. They didn't start with a roadmap. They started with a decision to burn the old blueprint and build a new one with their bare hands. Lincoln, broken, decided he would become more than his failures. Oprah, abused and rejected, decided her story would not end where it began. Disney, fired for lack of imagination, decided he would create worlds from ink and vision. And here you are, sitting on the edge of your own greatness, waiting for clarity, waiting for approval, waiting for timing. Let me say it clearly: there is no perfect time. There is only now. And the longer you wait, the more your doubts grow roots. The more your dreams become ghosts. The more your life becomes a shadow of what it could have been. You think it's a big leap you need to make. It's not. It's a small, daily decision. To wake up earlier, to stop blaming, to commit, to say no to distractions, to invest in yourself instead of indulging in entertainment. That's it. One decision repeated consistently creates a compounding effect more powerful than any shortcut. Because it's not just about motivation, it's about momentum. And momentum is earned. It's earned in the silence of early mornings. It's earned in the discipline of saying no when everything screams yes. It's earned in the lonely hours when no one sees your progress, but you keep going anyway. Why? Because you made a decision. You chose responsibility over resentment. You chose purpose over pleasure. You chose to stop reacting to life and start directing it. You are not a victim. You are not unlucky. You are not stuck. You are simply undecided. But the moment you make the decision, the real decision, the no turning back. Burn, the ship's kind of decision, the universe shifts. Opportunities that were invisible begin to appear. People, resources, and clarity begin to gather around you like fire around oxygen. Because life respects the committed. It opens for the bold. It bends for the focused. It bows to the one who says, I don't care how hard it gets. I'm not leaving the arena. You see, the decision is not about knowing everything in advance. It's about knowing that you will figure it out. That your character will catch up to your calling. That your discipline will rise to match your dream. You don't need guarantees. You need grit. You don't need applause. You need hunger. You don't need the perfect plan. You need to take the first step. Because once you do, life responds. Not immediately. Not always how you expect. But it responds. Because you moved. And movement, decisive, committed, unwavering movement, is the language of transformation. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs more warriors. Warriors of vision. Warriors of character. Warriors of responsibility. People who say, I don't care where I started. I care where I'm going. People who refuse to be shaped by their past and instead decide to sculpt their future like artists with chisel and fire. And here's the beautiful part. You already know the decision you need to make. It's not new. It's not hidden. It's been waiting on you. Waiting for you to stop running. Waiting for you to stop making it complicated. Waiting for you to say, enough. I choose to become who I was born to be. So stop negotiating with your old life. Stop begging for the world to understand. Stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to grow. Make the decision right here, right now, because everything changes when you do. The moment you choose differently, you become different. The chains that held you yesterday, they don't belong to who you are now, because you've made a new agreement, not with the world, not with others, but with yourself. And that's the only agreement that matters. You've told yourself, I will no longer wait for perfect. I will move while I'm afraid. I will walk before I see the staircase. Because that's how empires are built. Brick by unseen brick. Step by uncertain step. Vision before validation. You think Henry Ford knew everything about automobiles before he changed transportation forever? No, he decided. He decided to challenge the impossible. He decided to think differently, and the world followed, because the world always follows the decisive. We live in a culture obsessed with more. More knowledge, more tactics, more hacks. But the greats, they didn't have more. They had clarity. And clarity is born from decision. You don't find clarity by thinking. You find it by doing. By moving your feet in the direction of your vision, even when the path is foggy. By choosing progress over perfection. By saying, I don't need all the answers to start. I need only the courage to begin. The mind will try to trick you. It will whisper lies like, you're not ready. You'll look foolish. What if you fail? But listen to me. What if you don't? What if you stay in the same cycle for 10 more years? What if your best ideas die with you because you were too afraid to act? What if the life you were meant to live never gets lived because you wouldn't decide? That's the real failure. Not falling, not losing, not rejection. No, the real failure is hesitation. The real failure is dying full of potential because you let your doubt outrun your decision. So what if they doubt you? So what if you're scared? So what if you fall? Fall forward. Fail towards something greater. Let your scars tell a story of growth, not regret, because pain with purpose transforms. And fear faced with decision becomes fuel. You're not supposed to feel ready. You're supposed to feel the pressure and choose anyway. You're supposed to look your fear in the eye and say, move. I've got work to do. And understand this, your discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It says, I believe in my future enough to delay comfort. I believe in my vision enough to fight for it daily. Look at every master, every elite performer, every leader who left a legacy. They all made one choice. They stopped being available to mediocrity. They said, enough. I will no longer live by default. I will live by design. They chose structure. They chose pain over numbness. They chose legacy over laziness. And so must you. If you want a different life, you must become a different person. If you want a life of power, peace, and purpose, it starts with a single, non-negotiable decision. I will no longer live in reaction. I will move in intention. You think you need more money, more time, more help. No, what you need is less excuses, less waiting, less tolerating, because your life will rise or fall to the level of what you tolerate. Tolerate average, and you will stay average. Tolerate excuses, and they will own you. Tolerate indecision, and it will strangle every dream you carry. But make a decision, a real one, and watch the world bend. Because your external world is only a mirror of your internal decisions. You decide your morning. You decide your response. You decide what thoughts stay and what thoughts leave. You decide who you become. You are not the victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your outcomes, but only if you decide to be. Confucius said, "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop." And what is stopping, really? It's when the weight of your excuses becomes heavier than the strength of your decisions. It's when you choose what's easy over what's necessary. It's when you live in reaction instead of responsibility. But you're not here for ease. You're here to become, to evolve, to lead yourself, to sculpt a life that reflects your deepest values, not your deepest fears. This isn't about hustle for the sake of hustle. It's about alignment. It's about becoming so clear on who you are and what you're here to do that everything unnecessary falls away. And that clarity, your purpose, your path, begins the moment you say, "I will no longer betray my future for the comfort of now." That's the turning point. And the world has always been shaped by those turning points. Moments when ordinary people made extraordinary decisions. Moments when the world said, "You can't." And they said, "Watch me." Moments when the gap between where they were and where they wanted to be looked too big. But they moved anyway. And that's where power lies. In the choice to move anyway. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. It rewards the one who executes when others hesitate. It rewards the one who builds when others talk. And that can be you. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. Right now. Because you are one decision away from a completely different life. And the cost of waiting is far greater than the cost of trying. There is no neutral decision. Every moment you wait, you are deciding, just in the wrong direction. You're deciding to stay the same. You're deciding to delay your greatness. You're deciding to believe that now is not the time. But when has waiting ever changed a life? When has hesitation ever created a breakthrough? It hasn't, it won't. And it never will. What builds momentum is movement. What builds power is presence. And what builds your life is not what you say, it's what you do. You think Edison waited to feel confident before he lit the world? No, he decided that every failure would teach, that every setback would inform his next move. He didn't chase success, he attracted it through commitment. Understand this, life will test your loyalty to your dream the moment you decide, not before, not later, right then. Make a decision and watch the storm come. Watch the resistance rise. Watch the doubt and distraction show up like clockwork. But that's the signal, not the stop sign. That's how life asks, are you serious? That's how destiny separates the tourists from the warriors. That's how greatness whispers, prove it. Bah. Because the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just addicted to the safety of the known. You're not lost. You're just disconnected from your decision. You've forgotten how much power lives inside you when you choose from conviction instead of comfort. Conviction doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't beg for applause. It doesn't need conditions to be perfect. Conviction just moves. It walks into the fire and says, "Build the bridge behind me. I'm not going back." That's how legacies are born, not in talent, not in genius, but in unwavering, relentless decision. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be an applause before you begin. There will never be a guarantee, but there will always be a door. And it only opens when you stop knocking and kick it down. You want clarity, start walking. You want confidence, keep showing up. You want change, burn the old script. This is not about hype. This is about alignment. This is about facing the mirror and saying, "I will no longer settle for anything less than who I know I am." No more pretending. No more waiting for validation. No more dimming your fire so others feel comfortable in their shadow. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to repeat history. You are here to write it. But writing history doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. It comes from sitting alone in the quiet and saying, "I know there's more for me, and I'm done betraying that voice." And the moment you mean it, everything begins to move. You'll see the right people show up. You'll see the path clear, even if only one step at a time. You'll see momentum where there was once resistance. Why? Because the universe doesn't respond to potential. It responds to decision. Decision that carries the energy of now, not someday. Decision that says, "I will become the kind of person who can handle the life I dream of." Decision that is not polite, it's powerful. You were not designed for average. You were not made for mediocrity. There's something in you, a roar you've silenced for too long. But you don't need to find it, you need to unleash it. Let go of what you were taught to believe, that success is for them. That peace is something you earn. That purpose is a mystery you stumble upon. No, success is a frequency, and you tune into it by choice. Peace is a discipline, and you cultivate it by clarity. Purpose is a decision, and you commit to it with action. The world has lied to you, told you to fit in, to play small, to survive instead of build. But every man or woman who ever changed history had to betray those lies. They had to say, "I know what I've been told, but I'm going to write a new truth. I know what the odds say, but I serve a greater authority. I know where I came from, but that's not where I'm staying." You can't fake that energy. You have to decide into it. And when you do, the old version of you begins to die. The one who overthought, the one who waited, the one who needed permission, gone. And in its place, the builder, the leader, the warrior, the one who lives not by fear, but by fire, not by default, but by destiny. And here's the secret: once you decide, you will start to notice just how many people never do. How many people wake up but never come alive? How many talk big but live small? But you made the decision, and you cannot unknow that moment. You stepped into your power. You burned the bridge to comfort. You chose to rise. And from this moment forward, everything changes. This is the line, not drawn by fate, not etched by circumstance, but carved by you, right here, right now. One decision, not 10. Not a plan with conditions. Just one raw, courageous, undeniable decision to take your life into your own hands. Because the truth is, no one is coming, no savior, no shortcut, no secret handshake behind the curtain, only you, the mirror, and the mountain you've been afraid to climb. But here's what most never understand. The mountain was never blocking the path. The mountain is the path, and you don't conquer it with speed, you conquer it with commitment, step by step, day by day, decision by decision. Your future is not written in the stars. It's written in your habits. Your wealth is not in the bank. It's in your discipline. Your power is not in the applause. It's in the silence, when no one is watching and you still choose to rise. That's where legends are made. In the quiet hour, when it's hard, when you want to quit, when your old life claws at your ankles begging you to come back. But you don't, because you made the decision to grow, to rise, to be the author of your becoming. And in that moment, your past becomes irrelevant, your fear becomes fuel, and your vision becomes law. You start walking different, thinking sharper, speaking bolder, loving deeper, serving harder, living louder. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you got clearer. You stopped asking, "What if I fail?" and started declaring, "What if I fly?" You stopped living like time was infinite and started moving like your breath was borrowed, because it is, and you know it. That's why this moment matters. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Now is the only time you can change your life. Now is the only door that ever opens. Now is the birthplace of every miracle you've ever dreamed of. You are not stuck. You are not behind. You are one decision away from a completely different life. So decide. Decide to believe. Decide to move. Decide to outgrow the version of you that was built for survival and step into the one made for significance. Because once you do, the world shifts. Not because it owes you, but because it recognizes you, a force, a leader, a builder, a creator of destiny. This is not motivation. This is responsibility. This is ownership. This is the moment your soul has been waiting for. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And here it is, your life does not respond to hope. It responds to decision. So stand up, straighten your back, lift your chin, and walk through the fire, because you are no longer the one who waits. You are no longer the one who wishes. You are the one who decides. And that changes everything, forever.